There are countless men in history who have self-sabotaged their careers, their businesses, their families, their health, their kingdoms. Mark Antony as one, Roman emperor who was seduced by Cleopatra. Tiger Woods, who had his scandals, and we saw a major difference in his game and who he was before and after. And there's countless other men, that have done this, and many men that we've never heard about, but that's their reality. It seems ridiculous to a man who's not successful, or who a man who's still working his way up the hierarchy of needs, that a man at the top of the pyramid would self-sabotage. But in actuality, it's really not that ridiculous once you understand two things. One, you understand the principle of polarity, and two, you understand the hierarchy of needs and what ends up happening as you become more and more successful as a man. Now, I'm very fortunate in my life. I get to coach some super successful men. $100 million real estate investor I'm working with right now. I'm working with a financial planner that has close to $30 million of assets under management. And that's small actually in that world, but we're pushing it to $100 million. And our goal is $1 billion. I've got guys that I'm working with who are on target within the next few years to be billionaires. I've got a plastic surgeon who just sold his practice to $1 billion company. I've got an architect who's building $1 million homes for people in the United States. I have a furniture store owner who designs and furnishes $1 million homes in Mexico. I've got men from all around the world working with me at this level. And in this video, I'm going to share with you what's really interesting about men who become successful and why they're willing to risk it all and self-sabotage it all because they still don't feel fulfilled. Let's get to work. Hi, my name is Nikula Dawes, and I help men master their S3X energy so you can become a powerhouse both in and outside the bedroom. Go to the description and the link below if you're interested in taking the free Transmutation guide. And if you're a successful man who wants to know more about transmutation, wants to know more about controlling your S3X energy so you don't self-sabotage and you've got a lot at risk, then make sure you go to the link in the description below and book some time on my schedule and calendar. I'd love to connect with you. We could talk a little bit more about your situation and what might be needed to make sure you don't fuck it all up. Excuse my language. I just want to say it bluntly. There's two things to understand. First is the principle of polarity. Polarity means that everything in this universe has its polar opposite. So heat and cold, up and down, right and wrong, good and evil. One aspect that we like to think about, our mind likes to put things in categories, and we like to say, that person is good, that person is bad. Mark Antony was a bad or a weak man for being seduced by Cleopatra. But Mark Antony simultaneously was also running, at the time, the biggest kingdom in the world. Tiger Woods was both at his peak of success when he had some of his toughest times. And I know personally in my own life, I experienced a great success last year, one of my most successful year in business. And at the same time, I went through some of my toughest personal challenges because this is the principle of polarity. As you have the capacity to gain, let's say in finances, your capacity to spend increases. Your capacity to self-sabotage increases. As you face fears more, then your capacity for courage simultaneously grows. As you swing the pendulum to pain, your capacity for pleasure increases. Here's why most people never become successful. They try to avoid the polar opposite of what they want. Meaning, if you ask most men, hey, do you want to be financially successful? They'll say yes. But what they don't want is to have financial struggle, or they don't want to take risk in their finances. So their ability to take risk is directly correlated with their ability to gain. Because most people are risk adverse, they can't gain. Now, when you understand this, you'll recognize that the person who has the highest capacity for success has the highest capacity to self-sabotage it. That's why success comes with major responsibility. The reason why the universe doesn't give success to most people is because it would be bad for them. We see this clearly with people who win the lottery. They win the lottery, and because they haven't earned that success, they haven't actually felt the pain of sacrifice to earn that kind of income. They haven't felt they haven't pushed their fear, so they're weak in courage. Once they get a lot of money, they don't know how to tell people no. Next thing you know, they're buying everyone houses and cars, and they're buying this and buying that because they haven't pushed the pain of discipline to actually hold or retain that kind of finances. Now, I'm using that as one example, but there's many, many examples. Your marriage is an example. Your ability to be a great father is an example. Your ability to be a great leader for your employees or your team. Once you understand polarity, you'll recognize that the more successful someone is, they are more susceptible to self-sabotaging, and their fall is a lot further than someone who isn't as successful. The second thing to understand is the hierarchy of needs. And I think that Maslow's hierarchy of needs has done this the best. So I'm going to quickly go through the bottom rungs, and then there's 5 basic, let's say, needs that we have to fulfill as humans and as men. And to fulfill those needs, as we climb up the hierarchy of needs, as we fulfill our needs and we become more secure in the bottom rungs, then the top rungs become available. But unless we understand this is actually where we'll self-sabotage, and we'll literally bring ourselves back to the bottom rung unconsciously. And it all comes down to, as men, we grow through challenge. We love the hunt, and we love the hunt more than we actually like catching the meat. We like to go out and know that we can be attractive. I've talked to so many men who are like, I love flirting. I love, pursuing and getting a woman to go on a date. But once they actually have the woman, they're not that interested, because what they like is the chase more than the actual prize. They like to hunt more than they actually catch the meat. That's because as men, we're designed to be pursuers, whether we're pursuing a woman, whether we're pursuing a goal, like a career or finances, whether we're pursuing God, we are pursuing. Masculine means penetrative, visionary, pursuing. Feminine is the opposite, receives. Stagnant. If we are order, if masculine is order, feminine is chaos. So here's what happens with successful men. They reach the first rung, which are physiological needs: air, water, food, shelter, clothing, and access to S3X. Once a man has those, and that's why in a relationship, he's generally got that access. Now, men who stop having S3X with their wife, or S3X goes out the window, they generally tend to start to stray. They want S3X, so they start to look around. And that's one of the major reasons that they self-sabotage, generally in the area of relationship, is that their relationship becomes a sexless relationship. They feel like they're living with a roommate. And because they feel like they're living with a roommate, their drive tends them to go in different directions. So you want to have those physiological needs taken care of. And this is also why you want to continue to pursue your wife if you're married or in a relationship. And you want to design your relationship in such a way where there is that kind of tension that's being built. If that tension is lost, many men will go astray. Then the other rung is safety needs: personal security, employment, resources, health, and property. Meaning, do you have a piece of land or a property or a building or an apartment that you call your own that you can design as your kingdom? Are you secure in your job, or do you feel like you don't know where your next paycheck's coming from? You're always on edge about your finances. You don't feel secure. For me, the best way to feel secure is to build your own business. Guess who never gets fired or let go from a business? The business owner. So you want to set yourself up to learn these skills. Now, you don't always have to get that from a business, but it's definitely one of the ways. The other way to do it is advance in your career, become, the C-level executive, become a great investor. So maybe you have a job, but you're developing investments. That's another great way to do it. My brother is like that. He works at a job. He's got a great job, but he's a great investor, and he's made a ton of income through investments. The point is, you have to have your safety needs taken care of. If you're worried about your own personal safety, your finances, or your health, then everything else goes out the window. I believe it was the Dalai Lama who said, the funny thing about humans is they spend all their health getting wealth, then they spend all their wealth trying to get back their health. Don't make that mistake. Health is your number one priority in life, period. Nothing happens spiritually or materially without health. Anybody who struggles with health will know that once they're struggling with their health, just think about if you get sick. How much energy do you have for anything else? One way that guys that are very successful start to self-sabotage is they have all their physiological needs taken care of, they have their safety needs taken care of, and then they begin to self-sabotage by drinking a bit. I had a client like this, or a student like this, who he's super successful. He's got the 3, 4, you could say he's got the 4, and now we're working on the 5th rung, all taken care of. But what he started to do, he started to drink each night. And he's like, why am I doing this? And of course, it's because he was looking for something else, a new challenge. One of the reasons why guys self-sabotage is because it's no longer challenging to do what they do. They've mastered their business. They've mastered their finances. They've mastered their family. They've got all that. And now they're twiddling their thumbs going, what am I going to do now? If a man does not pursue a higher challenge, he will literally self-sabotage that just to get back in the game of the hunt. Remember what I said, as men, we love the hunt more than the catch. So unless we are hunting and I've caught it all, we will literally at an unconscious level self-sabotage it so we can get back in the game and do what we do best, which is go out there and pursue. The 3rd rung is love and belonging. Friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connection. A lot of men self-sabotage here, successful men, because they don't have this. So they pursue it in other ways, maybe through drinking. They try to stifle that idea of, I just feel lonely, or I don't have any friends. Their family life starts to look boring. And the reality is this: successful men are often adrenaline junkies too. That's what makes them successful. They're pursuing things. They want to go big. They don't think small. So because they think big in all areas. And in that way, they're looking for big experiences, big excitement. A lot of guys will try to mimic that excitement through drugs, alcohol, pursuing different types of activities like that, which are sensually based. And that's because they've taken care of their bottom rung needs, but they don't realize that they have to continue to grow beyond that, or they will self-sabotage. Number 4th on the rung is esteem, respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, strength, freedom, autonomy. Meaning, I want to control my life. I want to control my time. I want to be able to travel the world now. I want to have some respect. I want to put my name in lights so everybody knows I give to charity. This is where a lot of guys will try to pursue this through philanthropy, which is a great way to actually get this. So they begin to, donate. They donate a lot of money money to things that they like. They get their name written, on the hospital wing. They get the street named after them. What they're looking for is legacy, to become a legend. And then they go to the fifth rung, which is self-actualization. And self-actualization is the desire to become an elite performer in all areas of life. And this is where I work with successful men. Because no matter who you are, no matter how much success you have, you know and I know that there are areas in your life that you could be improving. But it might no longer be in your business. It might be creating that marriage that you want or that bedroom life that you want. It might be in creating your legacy. And how will you be remembered generations from now? It's about getting influence now. Maybe it's about power. And ultimately, it becomes spiritual. How do I actualize my spiritual potential and know myself beyond these things? I love when Marcus Aurelius said, and if you don't know who Marcus Aurelius is, he was the Roman emperor. And he said, learn to live in castles and among statues and not need any of it. If you're a successful man and you find that you just don't have that challenge anymore, you're just not like, that desire to pursue anymore is there, it's time that you look at self-actualization, which is an inward journey. And I promise you, the inward journey is way more difficult than whatever you've done so far. If you really want to know who you're made of, you've got to go within yourself and learn to master your thoughts, master your sexual energy, master your body and mind, and ultimately master yourself. And as you do this, you'll notice that desire to self-sabotage or pursue goes away, because now you're pursuing the biggest goal that any human being can pursue, which is himself. Not who he is as a father, not who he is as a husband, not a businessman, not whatever people may recognize you to be, but a spirit, a soul, and to know yourself as that. I like the saying that says, I think it's a smart man learns to conquer others, a wise man learns to conquer himself. If you're successful and you've got all of the toys and you can do whatever it is you want on the material level, you're at the stage of life where it's time to know yourself and conquer yourself. And that's what I help successful men do. Reach out to me, connect, book some time with me. Let's see if we resonate and it's a good fit, and then we'll take the next steps. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on the next video.